Jake Morrison sat alone in his small quarters aboard the space station, staring at the official message on his screen. The words seemed to blur together as he read them for the third time. His best friend Alex Carter was dead. The message came from Earth Command. Alex had died during a diplomatic mission to the Zephyrian homeworld. Pirates had attacked his ship while he was returning from peace talks. There were no survivors except for one person, and that person was not Alex. Jake felt empty inside. He and Alex had been friends since their first day at the Space Academy 15 years ago. They had served together on many missions across the galaxy. Alex was like a brother to him. He was gone forever. A soft knock came at his door. Jake looked up to see Commander Lisa Hayes standing in the doorway. Her face was serious and sad. "Sorry about Alex," she said quietly. "I know how close you two were." Jake nodded but could not speak. His throat felt tight. "There's something else," Lisa continued. "A lawyer from Earth's Command wants to speak with you. It's about Alex's will." Jake was confused. His will? Why would they need to talk to me? I don't know. But they said it was urgent. "The call is waiting for you in conference room 2. Jake stood up slowly. He did not understand why Alex's will would involve him, but he walked to the conference room anyway. Inside, a hologram of an older man in a business suit was waiting. "Captain Morrison," the man said. "I am Richard Stone, legal advisor for Earth Command. I'm sorry for your loss. Lieutenant Commander Carter spoke of you often." "Thank you," Jake replied. "But why am I here?" The lawyer cleared his throat. "Alex Carter left specific instructions in his will. He has named you as the guardian of his wife." Jake blinked hard. "His wife?" "Alex wasn't married. I would have known. Actually, he was married 6 months ago on the Zephyrian homeworld. Her name's Lyra. She's a Zephyrian citizen, and according to their laws, she needs a new guardian now that her husband is dead." Jake felt dizzy. This made no sense. Alex had never mentioned being married to anyone, especially not to an alien. They talked regularly during their missions. How could Alex keep such a big secret? "I don't understand," Jake said. "Why me?" "What does it mean to be her guardian?" The lawyer pulled up another document. "In Zephyrian culture, when a married man dies, his wife cannot live alone. She must have a male guardian from her husband's family or closest friends. If she doesn't, she becomes an outcast in their society. Alex chose you because he trusted you more than anyone else." Jake sat down hard in his chair. "But I don't know anything about taking care of an alien wife. I don't even know anything about taking care of a human wife. I've never been married." "The arrangement doesn't require marriage," the lawyer explained. "You would be responsible for her safety and well-being. She would live under your protection until she chooses to return to her homeworld or finds another arrangement." "Where is she now?" Jake asked. "She's on transport ship Delta 7, which will arrive at your station tomorrow morning. She has been traveling for 2 weeks to reach you." Jake put his head in his hands. This was too much to handle. His best friend was dead, and now he had to take care of an alien woman he had never met. He did not feel ready for this responsibility. "What if I say no?" he asked. The lawyer's expression became serious. "If you refuse, she will be sent back to the Zephyrian homeworld as an outcast. She will lose all her rights and property. It would be a very difficult life for her." Jake thought about Alex. His friend had always been kind and caring. If Alex had married this woman, she must have been special to him. Alex would never have put Jake in this situation unless it was important. "Can I think about it?" Jake asked. "Sorry, but the decision must be made now. The transport ship cannot wait. They need to know where to take her." Jake closed his eyes and tried to imagine what Alex would want him to do. The answer was clear. Alex would want him to help his wife, no matter how difficult it might be. "Okay," Jake said finally. "I'll do it." The next morning, Jake stood in the docking bay waiting for transport ship Delta 7. His stomach felt nervous. He had no idea what to expect. What did Zephyrian women look like? Would she speak English? Would she hate him for not being Alex? Commander Hayes stood beside him. She had insisted on being there for support. "It will be okay, Jake," she said. "You're a good man. You'll figure this out." The transport ship docked with a soft thud. The airlock opened with a hiss of air. A few human passengers walked out first, followed by some cargo workers. Then Jake saw her. She was beautiful in a way that took his breath away. Her skin was a soft blue color that seemed to glow with its own light. Her hair was long and silver, flowing down her back like liquid metal. She was tall and graceful, wearing a simple white dress that looked like it was made from some kind of silk. But it was her eyes that struck Jake the most. They were large and expressive, and they seemed to change color as she looked around the docking bay. Right now, they were a deep purple, and Jake could see sadness in them. She was carrying a small bag and looked lost. Her gaze moved across the room until it found Jake. Somehow, she seemed to know who he was. She walked toward him slowly. "You are Jake Morrison," she said. Her voice was soft and musical, with only a slight accent. "Alex told me about you many times." "Yes," Jake replied. "And you're Lyra?" I'm sorry about Alex." Her eyes changed from purple to a watery blue, and Jake realized she was trying not to cry. "Thank you. He spoke of you as his brother. He said you were the best man he knew." Jake felt uncomfortable. He did not feel like the best anything right now. He felt confused and scared. "I know this is strange for both of us," Lyra continued. "I did not expect to be in this situation either. But Alex made me promise that if something happened to him, I would come to you. He said you would keep me safe." "I'll do my best," Jake said, though he was not sure what that meant. Commander Hayes stepped forward. "Welcome to Station Meridian," she said kindly. "I'm Lisa Hayes. We've prepared quarters for you near Jake's room." "Thank you," Lyra said with a small bow. "I appreciate your kindness." As they walked through the corridors of the station, Jake noticed that other crew members stopped and stared at Lyra. Some looked curious, others seemed worried. Jake realized that having an alien living on their station would be big news for everyone. "Lyra," Jake said as they reached her new quarters, "I want you to know that I don't really understand Zephyrian customs. If I do something wrong, please tell me." She looked at him with those color-changing eyes, which were now a gentle green. "And I do not understand human customs either. We can learn together." Jake nodded. I think Alex would have liked that idea. For the first time since she arrived, Lyra smiled. It was a small smile, but it made her whole face light up. Jake could see why Alex had fallen in love with her. "Yes," she said quietly. "He would have liked that very much." As Jake left Lyra to settle into her new home, he wondered what he had gotten himself into. Taking care of an alien widow was not something they had taught him at the academy. Alex had trusted him with the most important thing in his life. Jake was determined not to let his friend down, even if he had no idea what he was doing. 3 days had passed since Lyra arrived on Station Meridian, and Jake was learning that taking care of an alien wife was much harder than he had imagined. He sat in the station's medical bay with Dr. Ryan Brooks, listening to a list of things he had never thought about before. "Her body temperature runs about 5 degrees cooler than humans," Dr. Brooks explained while looking at his medical scanner. "And she needs at least 2 hours of artificial sunlight each day, or her skin will lose its glow, and she'll get sick." Jake rubbed his forehead. "Anything else I should know?" "Well, she can't eat most of our food. The proteins in human food can make her very ill. We'll need to order special supplies from the Zephyrian trade ships." Jake sighed. Every day brought new problems he did not know how to solve. Yesterday, Lyra had asked him about something called morning meditation, which was apparently very important in her culture. Jake had no idea what that meant or how to help her with it. "Can I ask you something?" Jake said. "How do I talk to her about personal things? I mean, she was married to my best friend. This whole situation is just weird." Dr. Brooks put down his scanner and looked at Jake with understanding eyes. "Jake, you're trying too hard to be perfect. She's not expecting you to. Replace Alex. She just needs someone who cares about her well-being. But I don't know anything about her culture or what she needs. Then ask her. From what I've seen, she's very intelligent and patient. I think she wants to help you understand, just like you want to help her." After leaving the medical bay, Jake walked slowly back toward Lyra's quarters. He was nervous about their daily check-in meetings. They had started these meetings so Jake could make sure she had everything she needed. But the conversations were always awkward. He found Lyra sitting by her window, looking out at the stars. She wore a simple blue dress that matched her skin, and her silver hair caught the light from the space outside. She looked beautiful, but also very sad. "Good morning, Lyra," Jake said as he entered her room. "Good morning, Jake." Her eyes were a soft gray color today. Jake was starting to learn that gray meant she was feeling lonely or homesick. "Dr. Brooks told me about the special food you need. I've already ordered supplies from the next Zephyrian trade ship. They should arrive in a few days." "Thank you. You are very kind to take care of such details." Jake sat down in the chair across from her. "Lyra, I want to ask you something, and I hope it's not too personal. Can you tell me about your marriage customs? I want to understand what this arrangement means to you." Lyra's eyes shifted to a lighter blue, which Jake thought might mean surprise. She was quiet for a moment, then spoke carefully. "My culture. Marriage is not just about love between two people. It is about creating a bond that protects both the husband and wife. When a woman marries, she becomes part of her husband's family. If he dies, someone from his family must take responsibility for her, or she loses all her place in society." "That seems like a difficult system," Jake said. "It can be. But it also means that no woman is ever truly alone. There is always someone who must care for her." Lyra paused and looked directly at Jake. "Alex chose you because he said you had a good heart. He said you would never let anyone suffer if you could help them." Jake felt a mix of pride and worry. "I want to help you, but I'm not sure I'm doing it right. I don't understand your customs, and I'm afraid I'll make mistakes." Lyra smiled for the first time since their conversation started. "Alex did not understand our customs either when we first met. But he asked many questions, and he listened to my answers. That is all I need from you too. Can you tell me about him? About how you met?" Lyra's eyes changed to a warm golden color, and Jake could see happy memories in her expression. "He came to my world as part of a diplomatic team. Most humans stayed together and only talked to our official representatives." Alex was curious about everything. He visited our markets, tried to learn our language, and asked about our art and music. She stood up and walked to a small box on her table. From it, she pulled out a small device that looked like a crystal cube. "This is a memory recorder," she explained. "Alex made many recordings during our time together. He said he wanted to remember everything about our life. Would you like to see some of them?" Jake was not sure he wanted to watch private moments between his friend and his wife, but something in Lyra's voice made him nod. She touched the crystal, and suddenly the room filled with a holographic image. Jake could see Alex sitting in what looked like a beautiful garden. He was trying to speak Zephyrian language, but he was making mistakes that made someone off-camera laugh. The laugh was Lyra's voice, younger and happier than Jake had heard it. "He was always making mistakes with our language," Lyra said softly. "But he never stopped trying." The next recording showed Alex and Lyra walking through a market together. Alex was fascinated by everything, asking questions about strange fruits and unusual tools. Lyra was patient and kind, explaining everything with a smile on her face. He said humans were different from other species because they were not afraid of things they did not understand, Lyra continued. Other aliens who visited our world stayed in their ships or only met with government officials. But Alex wanted to learn about ordinary people and ordinary life. Jake watched his friend in the recordings and felt both happy and sad. Alex looked more content than Jake had ever seen him. But it also made Jake realize how much his friend had changed in the months before his death, and Jake had not noticed. "There is something else," Lyra said, touching the crystal again. This time, the recording showed Alex alone, speaking directly into the camera. "Jake," Alex's recorded voice said, "if you're watching this, it means something has happened to me, and Lyra is now your responsibility. I know this seems crazy, and I know you're probably angry that I never told you about her, but I need you to understand something important." Jake leaned forward, listening carefully to his dead friend's words. "Lyra is not just my wife. She's the smartest person I've ever met. She knows more about space navigation and quantum physics than our best scientists. But more than that, she has a way of seeing problems that we humans miss. She's going to be Important for our future, Jake. Not just as an alien ally, but as someone who can help humanity grow. The recording paused, and Alex looked directly at the camera with serious eyes. I chose you because you're the only person I trust to see her as more than just an obligation. Don't just take care of her, Jake. Listen to her. Learn from her. Has things to teach us that could change everything. The recording ended, and the room became quiet again. Jake looked at Lyra, who was watching him carefully. I had no idea, Jake said quietly. Alex never told me any of this. He was planning to bring me to meet you after the diplomatic mission was finished. He wanted to introduce me properly, as his wife and as someone who could help with Earth's space program. Jake felt a new understanding settling over him. This was not just about helping a widow. Alex had seen something bigger, something more important. What kind of things did you want to help with? Jake asked. Lyra's eyes brightened to a clear blue color. I have been studying your faster-than-light travel systems. There are improvements that could be made, ways to travel farther and use less energy. I did not think anyone would want to listen to suggestions from an alien widow. I want to listen, Jake said, and he meant it. Alex was right about you being important. And if you can help humanity explore space better, then that's something we should talk about. For the first time since arriving on the station, Lyra looked truly interested in something. Her eyes shifted to a bright green color that Jake had not seen before. There's much I could show you, she said. But first, I think we should understand each other better. I want to learn about human customs, and you want to learn about Zephyrian ways. Perhaps we can teach each other, Jake smiled. I think Alex would have liked that idea very much. As Jake left Lyra's quarters that day, he felt different than he had in days. Instead of feeling burdened by an impossible responsibility, he felt curious about what he might learn. Maybe taking care of Lyra would not just be about helping her. Maybe it would be about helping humanity too. 2 weeks had passed since Jake's conversation with Lyra about Alex's recordings, and things on Station Meridian had changed in ways Jake never expected. He stood in the engineering bay watching Lyra work alongside Chief Engineer Tony Martinez on the station's power systems. See this energy flow pattern? Lyra was saying, pointing to a holographic display. If you adjust the quantum field alignment by just 3 degrees, you can increase efficiency by 20%. Tony looked at the numbers on his screen and whistled softly. That's incredible. We've been trying to improve these systems for years, and you figured it out in 2 days. Jake smiled as he watched them work together. Lyra had been right about having things to teach humanity. In just 2 weeks, she had helped solve 3 different technical problems that had been troubling the station's crew for months. But Jake's smile faded when he saw Commander Hayes approaching with a serious expression on her face. Jake, we need to talk, Lisa said quietly. We just received a priority message from Earth Command. They walked to Lisa's office, where she closed the door and activated the privacy screen. We have a problem. A Zephyrian research ship, called the Star Whisper, is under attack by pirates about 6 hours from our position. They're requesting immediate assistance. Jake frowned. It should be a routine rescue mission. Why do you look so worried? Because the pirates aren't just after cargo. According to the distress signal, they're specifically trying to capture the Zephyrian crew alive. This looks like a slave raid, Jake. And if we don't help them, those people are going to suffer terribly. Jake felt anger building in his chest. Slavery was one of the worst crimes in the galaxy, and pirates who dealt in living beings were considered the lowest form of criminal. Have to help them, he said firmly. I agree. But here's the complicated part. The Star Whisper is a research vessel studying ancient alien technology. If we're going to mount a successful rescue, we'll need someone who understands Zephyrian ship layouts and defensive systems. Jake understood immediately. You want Lyra to help with a mission? She's the only Zephyrian on board, and she might be our best chance of saving those people. But Jake, I can't order her to do this. As a civilian under your guardianship, the choice has to be yours and hers. Jake thought about the situation carefully. The mission would be dangerous, and taking Lyra into combat was the last thing he wanted to do. But if her help could save innocent lives, he knew what Alex would have wanted. Let me talk to her, Jake said. He found Lyra in her quarters, reading from a small device that projected Zephyrian text into the air. When she saw Jake's expression, her eyes immediately changed from calm blue to concerned purple. "Something is wrong," she said, setting down her reading device. Jake explained the situation with the Star Whisper and the pirates. As he spoke, Lyra's eyes shifted through several colors, finally settling on a determined gold. "Of course I will help," she said without hesitation. "Those are my people in danger." "Lyra, this mission could be very dangerous. I don't want to put you at risk." She stood up and looked directly at him. "Jake, do you remember what Alex said in his recording? He said I could help humanity grow. But I cannot help anyone if I hide in safety while others suffer." Jake admired her courage, but he was still worried. "What if something happens to you? I promise to keep you safe." Lyra walked over to him and placed her hand gently on his arm. Her touch was cool and comforting. "Keeping me safe does not mean keeping me from doing what is right." Alex understood this. "I think you do too." An hour later, Jake stood in the briefing room with the rescue team. Lieutenant Steve Martinez, the station's best pilot, was explaining the mission plan. Lyra sat beside Jake, wearing a borrowed uniform that had been quickly adjusted to fit her. "The Star Whisper is a research vessel with minimal weapons," Steve was saying. "The pirates have to attack ships and have already disabled the Zephyrian ship's engines. Our job is to get in fast, neutralize the pirates, and rescue the crew." "What about the ship layout?" asked Sergeant Carol Davis, leader of the station's security team. Lyra stood up and activated the holographic projector. A detailed image of the Star Whisper appeared in the room. "Zephyrian research ships have 3 main sections," she explained. "Clearly, the crew quarters are here, in the center of the ship. The research labs are in the forward section, and the engineering bay is at the rear. The pirates will most likely try to gather the crew in the central area because it has the strongest life support systems." She pointed to different parts of the ship as she spoke. "There are emergency exits here, here, and here. But the pirates probably don't know about this maintenance tunnel that runs along the bottom of the ship. If we can get someone inside through that tunnel, they could reach the crew without being detected." Jake listened as Lyra continued to explain the ship's systems and possible defensive measures. She spoke with confidence and knowledge that impressed everyone in the room. This was not just a scared widow asking for help. This was a skilled expert helping to plan a rescue mission. "One more thing," Lyra said. "Zephyrian ships have something called an emergency beacon. If the crew activates it, the ship will send out a signal that calls for help from any Zephyrian vessels in the area. But it also locks down all the ship's systems to prevent pirates from stealing anything valuable. That could trap the crew inside with the pirates," Jake pointed out. "Yes, but it also means the pirates cannot escape quickly. If we time our attack right, we can catch them before they can break through the lockdown." 2 hours later, Jake found himself in a combat shuttle heading toward the Star Whisper. He sat across from Lyra, who was wearing a protective vest and carrying a translator device that would help her communicate with the rescued crew. "Are you sure about this?" Her one more time. "I am sure," she replied. Her eyes were now a steady silver color that Jake had learned meant she was focused and determined. "These people need our help, and I am the best person to provide it." The shuttle shook slightly as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Through the window, Jake could see the Star Whisper in the distance. The elegant Zephyrian ship looked damaged, with scorch marks along its hull. 2 smaller pirate vessels were attached to it like parasites. "Beginning approach," Steve announced. From the pilot's seat, "Carol, get your team ready. Jake, keep Lyra safe and let her guide you to the crew. Remember," Lyra said to everyone, "Zephyrians are peaceful people. They will be very frightened. Speak calmly and move slowly. Quick movements might make them panic." The rescue mission went better than Jake had hoped. Lyra's knowledge of the ship layout allowed them to reach the crew without being detected by the pirates. They found 12 Zephyrian researchers huddled together in a storage room, trying to hide from their captors. When the Zephyrians saw Lyra, their relief was obvious. They spoke rapidly in their musical language, and Lyra responded calmly, clearly, telling them that help had arrived. "They are very scared," Lyra translated for Jake. The pirates have been threatening to sell them as slaves, but they are not hurt. Rescued Zephyrians to safety. He watched as she comforted the frightened researchers, speaking to them in their own language and helping them stay calm. One of the rescued Zephyrians, an older male with deep blue skin, spoke to Lyra for several minutes. Jake could see that. The conversation was important, but he could not understand what they were saying. "What did he tell you?" Jake asked when the conversation ended. Lyra's eyes had changed to a worried orange color. "His name is Dr. Kale, and he is the leader of this research team. He says they were not attacked by ordinary pirates. These criminals knew exactly what the Star Whisperer was carrying and where to find it." "What were they carrying?" "Information about ancient technology that could change space travel forever." Dr. Kale thinks someone gave the pirates specific details about their mission. Someone who knew their route and their cargo. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "You mean someone set them up?" "Oh, yes. And Dr. Kale is worried that whoever did this might try again. He thinks other Zephyrian research ships could be in danger." Their shuttle returned to Station Meridian with the rescued crew. Jake thought about what Lyra had told him. The successful rescue mission had shown him that Lyra was much more than just someone he needed to protect. She was brave, intelligent, and willing to risk her own safety to help others. But now it seemed like she might be in danger herself. If someone was targeting Zephyrian researchers, Lyra could be a target too, especially since she clearly knew about advanced technology. "Lyra," Jake said quietly as they traveled through space, "I want you to know that what you did today was incredible. You saved those people's lives." She looked at him with eyes that had shifted to a warm green color. "We saved them together, Jake. That is what Alex meant when he said humans were different. You did not just rescue my people because it was your duty. You did it because you cared about them as individuals." Jake felt a strange feeling in his chest as he looked at Lyra. Over the past few weeks, he had started to see her not just as Alex's widow or as his responsibility, but as a remarkable person in her own right. She was brave, kind, intelligent, and completely dedicated to helping others. Jake was in his quarters reviewing supply reports when the urgent alarm began blaring throughout Station Meridian. The sound meant only one thing: incoming hostile ships. He grabbed his uniform jacket and ran toward the command center, his heart racing with worry about what new danger they might be facing. In the command center, found Commander Hayes, coordinating with the bridge crew while multiple screens showed radar contacts approaching their position. The ships were big, much bigger than the pirate vessels they had fought a week ago. "What's the situation?" Jake asked as he joined Lisa at the main display. 3 Corvani Empire warships just dropped out of faster-than-light travel, Lisa replied, her voice tense. "They're demanding permission to board our station." Jake felt his stomach drop. The Corvani Empire was known throughout the galaxy for their aggressive expansion and their belief that might made right. They had been enemies of the Zephyrians for over 100 years. "What do they want?" Jake asked. Before Lisa could answer, the main communication screen activated. A large Corvani officer with gray skin and red eyes appeared on the display. His uniform was covered with medals and symbols of rank. "I am Admiral Vex of the Corvani Imperial Fleet," the alien said in a deep, harsh voice. "We demand that you surrender the Zephyrian female known as Lyra to our custody immediately." Lisa stepped forward to respond. "This is Commander Hayes of Earth Station Meridian. Lyra is under the protection of Earth Command. We cannot comply with your demand." Admiral Vex's red eyes seemed to glow brighter with anger. "The female possesses classified information that belongs to the Corvani Empire. She must be turned over to us, or we will consider this an act of war against our people." "What classified information?" Lisa asked. "That is not your concern, human. Oh, you have 1 hour to deliver the female to us, or we will take her by force." The communication ended, leaving the command center in tense silence. Jake looked around at the worried faces of the crew. 3 Corvani warships could easily destroy their station if they chose to attack. "We need to talk to Lyra," Jake said. "She might know what this is about." They found Lyra in the engineering bay, still working with Tony Martinez on the power. systems. When she saw Jake and Lisa approaching with serious expressions, her eyes immediately changed from content blue to worried purple. "The Corvani Empire is here," Jake said, without wasting time. "They want us to turn you over to them. They claim you have classified information that belongs to them." Lyra's eyes shifted to a deep red color that Jake had never seen before. It looked frightened in a way that made Jake's protective instincts flare up. "They cannot have me," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "If they take me, it will be very bad for both Earth and my homeworld." "What information do they think you have?" Lisa asked gently. Lyra looked around the engineering bay, making sure no one else could hear them. Then she spoke in a quiet voice. "I know the location of the Forerunner artifacts." Jake and Lisa exchanged glances. Everyone in the galaxy had heard stories about the Forerunners, ancient alien race that had disappeared millions of years ago. They were said to have technology far beyond anything that existed today. "Are the artifacts real?" Jake asked. "Yes, my research team discovered them 6 months ago, hidden in a dead star system. The artifacts contain technology that could allow any species to travel across the entire galaxy in days instead of months. It would change everything." Lisa sat down heavily in a nearby chair. "That's why the pirates attacked the Star Whisper. They were looking for information about the artifacts." "Yes," Lyra nodded. "And Alex died protecting the secret of their location. He was carrying the star charts when his ship was attacked. The pirates did not find what they were looking for, because I had already memorized the coordinates and destroyed all physical records." Jake felt a mix of admiration and terror. Lyra was not just carrying important information. She was carrying the most valuable secret in the galaxy, and now everyone wanted it. "How do the Corvani know you have this information?" Jake asked. "Someone must have told them. The same person who told the pirates about the Star Whisper's mission." Lyra's eyes shifted to an angry orange color. "There is a spy working for the Corvani Empire, someone who has access to Zephyrian government information." Jake's mind raced as he thought about their options. He could not fight 3 Corvani warships and win, but they also could not hand Lyra over to an empire that would use the Forerunner technology to conquer other species. "There has to be another way," he said. Lisa stood up and began pacing. "We could contact Earth Command for reinforcements, but it would take them days to get here. We could try to evacuate Lyra to another location, but the Corvani ships would just follow us." "Wait," Lyra said suddenly. "There might be a way to solve this without fighting." Jake and Lisa looked at her hopefully. "The Corvani Empire has strict laws about honor and personal combat. If someone challenges their claim in the right way, they must accept a formal duel instead of simply taking what they want." "You mean like single combat?" Jake asked. "Not exactly. In Corvani tradition, disputes can be settled through what they call a test of worthiness. It is a competition that proves who has the right to possess something valuable. The winner takes everything, and the loser must accept defeat with honor." Lisa looked skeptical. "What kind of competition? And who would represent our side?" Lyra looked directly at Jake. "The competition can be anything both sides agree on, and it must be someone who has a personal claim to protect me. Jake is my guardian, so he has the strongest claim." Jake felt his heart skip a beat. "Me, Lyra? I'm not a warrior. I'm just a ship captain." "That is exactly why you might win, Lyra," said her eyes brightening to a hopeful green. "The Corvani expect their opponents to choose physical combat because that is their greatest strength. But the test of worthiness can be any kind of challenge. You could choose something that plays to human strengths instead of Corvani ones." Jake thought about what Lyra was suggesting. It was risky, but it might be their only chance to avoid a war that would get innocent people killed. "What kind of challenge would give us the best chance?" he asked. Lyra smiled for the first time since the conversation started. "Something that requires cooperation, creativity, and the ability to unite different groups of people. Something that humans do better than anyone else in the galaxy." An hour later, Jake stood in the main docking bay facing Admiral Vex and 2 other Corvani officers. The alien admiral was even more intimidating in person, standing nearly 7 feet tall with muscles that looked like they could crush steel. "You wish to challenge our claim to the female?" Admiral Vex asked, his voice dripping with contempt. "It do," Jake replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "As her guardian, I invoke the ancient right of test of worthiness." Admiral Vex looked surprised. Most humans did not know about Corvani traditions, and even fewer would be brave enough to invoke them. "Very well," the Admiral said after a moment. "What is the nature of your challenge?" Jake took a deep breath. "A test of leadership and problem solving. We will both be given the same crisis situation and the same resources. Whoever solves the problem most effectively wins." "What kind of crisis?" one of the other Corvani officers asked. "A rescue scenario," Jake replied. "A space station with multiple species aboard is losing life support and under attack by pirates. Both teams must work together to save as many lives as possible while defending against the attackers." Admiral Vex considered this for a long moment. Jake could see that the Corvani was thinking carefully about whether this type of challenge would favor his skills or Jake's. "The test will be conducted using holographic simulation," Jake continued. "Each team will have representatives from different species, including humans, Zephyrians, and Corvani. The team that saves the most lives and protects the station most effectively wins." "This is acceptable," Admiral Vex said finally, "but I choose the specific scenario we will face." "Agreed," Jake said, as they shook hands to seal the agreement. Jake felt Lyra's eyes on him from across the docking bay. Her gaze was now a steady silver color that he had learned meant determination and trust. Admiral Vex leaned closer to Jake and spoke in a low voice that only he could hear. "You are either very brave or very foolish human. When I defeat you, I will take the female and the information she carries. Your Earth will have no one to blame but you." Jake looked the Corvani Admiral directly in his red eyes. "We'll see about that." As the preparations for the test began, Jake felt more nervous than he had ever been in his life. He was about to compete against one of the most experienced military leaders in the Corvani Empire, and the stakes could not be higher. If he lost, Lyra would be taken away, and the Forerunner artifacts could end up in the hands of an aggressive empire that would use them to conquer the galaxy. But Jake also felt something else: determination. Lyra had risked her life to help rescue the Star Whisper crew. Alex had died protecting the secret she carried. Now it was Jake's turn to protect both Lyra and the future of free species everywhere. The test would begin in just a few hours. Jake knew that everything he had learned about leadership, cooperation, and bringing different people together would be put to the ultimate test. The holographic simulation chamber hummed with energy as Jake stood beside his team, looking at the virtual space station that appeared before them. The station was massive, with multiple sections connected by long corridors. Warning lights flashed, red throughout the structure. Jake could see small pirate ships attacking from several directions. Admiral Vex stood 20 feet away with his own team. The Corvani Admiral had chosen experienced military officers from his ships, along with one human and one Zephyrian who had volunteered to work with him. Jake could see confidence in the Admiral's red eyes. Vex clearly believed that his military experience would easily defeat a simple ship captain. Jake's team was different. He had chosen Lyra, of course, along with Dr. Ryan Brooks, Chief Engineer Tony Martinez, and Sergeant Carol Davis. He had also asked for 2 volunteers from the rescued Zephyrian researchers, including Dr. Kale. His team had less military experience than the Admirals, but Jake hoped they had something more important: the ability to work together. "The scenario is beginning now," announced the simulation computer. "Both teams have identical resources and the same objective: save as many lives as possible while defending the station from pirate attack. You have 30 minutes to complete your mission." Immediately, alarms began blaring throughout the virtual station. Jake's team gathered around him as he quickly assessed the situation. The station held 300 civilian workers from 6 different species. Life support was failing in multiple sections, and 8 pirate ships were attacking the stations. Defenses. Admiral Vex was already barking orders at his team, sending them to different parts of the station with military precision. Jake could hear the Corvani Admiral assigning each team member to handle specific problems. One group to fight the pirates, another to repair life support, a third to evacuate civilians. Jake took a different approach. Everyone tell me what. You see, he said to his team, what are the biggest problems we need to solve? Life support is failing in sections C and D, Dr. Brooks reported. Those areas have about 80 people who will die in 15 minutes if we don't fix the systems. The pirates are focusing their attacks on the station's main power core, Tony added. If they destroy that, the whole station goes dark and everyone dies. The civilian population is panicking, Lyra observed. They are running in different directions and getting in each other's way. Some are trapped because they don't know how to operate the emergency systems. Dr. Kale, the rescued Zephyrian researcher, spoke up. My people on the station are trying to help, but they cannot communicate effectively with the other species. Everyone is speaking different languages. Jake listened to all of this information and felt a plan forming in his mind. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Okay, but first I need everyone to understand that we're not just trying to solve individual problems. We're trying to help all these different people work together. He turned to Lyra. You and Dr. Kale focus on communication. Use your translation skills to help the different species coordinate with each other. Get them organized so they're not working against each other. Carol, I need you to train some of the civilians in basic defense. Don't try to fight all the pirates yourself. Teach the station workers how to protect themselves and help with repairs. Tony and Dr. Brooks work together on the life support systems, but don't just fix them. Show the station engineers how to make emergency repairs, so they can handle future problems. As his team spread out through the virtual station, Jake noticed that Admiral Vex's team was making faster progress on individual tasks. The Corvani military officers were efficiently fighting pirates and repairing systems. But Jake also noticed something else. The civilian workers were staying out of their way instead of helping. Jake's approach was slower at first, but soon he began to see the benefits. Lyra and Dr. Kale had organized the different species into mixed teams that could communicate with each other. A group of humans, Zephyrians, and Andorians were working together to repair damaged hull sections. Another mixed team was helping evacuate injured people from the dangerous areas. Carol had trained a group of civilian workers to use emergency weapons and coordinate with each other. Instead of just hiding, they were now helping to defend the station while the security forces focused on the bigger pirate ships. Tony and Dr. Brooks had not only fixed the life support systems, but they had also taught the station's engineering crew how to reroute power more efficiently. The station's defenses were now stronger than they had been before the attack started. 15 minutes remaining, the computer announced. Jake looked at the status displays and saw that both teams were making good progress. Admiral Vex's team had saved more lives in the first half of the simulation, but Jake's team was catching up quickly. More importantly, the civilian population was now working together instead of getting in each other's way. Then something unexpected happened. A new wave of pirate ships appeared on the sensors, twice as many as before. This was not part of the original scenario that Admiral Vex had chosen. The computer was making the test harder to see. Both teams would handle increased pressure. Admiral Vex's team responded by pulling their people back to defensive positions. The Corvani admiral started giving orders for a fighting retreat, trying to protect the most important parts of the station while abandoning the areas that were hardest to defend. Jake made a different choice. Everyone, this is where we show what humans do best, he said over the communication system. We don't give up on people, and we don't fight alone. Instead of retreating, Jake's team helped the mixed civilian groups they had organized to defend the entire station. The humans taught rapid repair techniques to the Zephyrian engineers. The Zephyrians showed the human workers how to use their advanced sensors to detect pirate ships. The Andorians used their natural strength to help move heavy equipment for everyone else. Dr. Kale made a suggestion that surprised everyone. The pirates are attacking us because they think we are weak and divided. What if we show them that we are united instead? Jake understood immediately. You mean surrender? No, Dr. Kale said with a smile. I mean invite them to surrender. Working together, the mixed teams of civilians and defenders sent a message to the pirate ships. Instead of just fighting, they offered the pirates a choice. Continue attacking and face the combined strength of 6 different species working together, or surrender and receive fair treatment under galactic law. Jake had never seen anything like what happened next. 3 of the pirate ships actually stopped shooting and sent surrender messages. The remaining pirates, seeing that their enemies were united instead of afraid, began making mistakes that made them easier to defeat. Time complete, the computer announced. Simulation ending. The holographic station disappeared, leaving both teams standing in the empty chamber. Jake looked at the final results displayed on the wall screens. His team had saved 291 lives out of 300. Admiral Vex's team had saved 273 lives, but the numbers only told part of the story. Jake's approach had not just saved more people. It had turned a group of frightened civilians into a coordinated community that could work together to solve problems. Admiral Vex stared at the results for a long moment, his red eyes showing emotions that Jake could not read. Finally, the Corvani Admiral spoke. "This is unexpected," he said slowly. "Your methods are not efficient by military standards." "No," Jake agreed, "but they work." Admiral Vex looked at Lyra, then back at Jake. "You did not win by being stronger or faster. You won by making others stronger and faster." "That's what humans do," Jake said simply. "We believe that everyone is better when we work together." The Corvani Admiral was quiet for several minutes, clearly thinking about what he had witnessed. When he spoke again, his voice was different, less harsh, more thoughtful. "I came here believing that the Forerunner artifacts should belong to the strongest empire in the galaxy. But perhaps they should belong to the species that would use them to help others become stronger." Jake felt his heart racing. Was Admiral Vex actually considering letting them keep Lyra and the secret she carried? "The test of worthiness has been completed," Admiral Vex announced formally. "The human Jake Morrison has proven his right to protect the female Lyra. The Corvani Empire withdraws its claim." Jake felt relief flooding through his body, but Admiral Vex was not finished speaking. "However," the Admiral continued, "I have a proposal. Corvani Empire has been fighting the Zephyrians for over a century. Both our peoples have suffered from this conflict. Perhaps it is time to try the human approach." Lyra stepped forward, her eyes bright with hope. "What do you propose?" "Partnership. The Corvani Empire will help protect the Forerunner artifacts from those who would misuse them. On return, when the time comes to study this ancient technology, we will do it together. Humans, Zephyrians, and Corvani, working as one." Jake looked at Lyra, who was smiling with tears in her color-changing eyes. This was more than they had dared to hope for. Not just safety, but the beginning of peace between old enemies.